Good morning. Welcome back to Business Daily here on Trust TV. Now, before the break, I told you we're looking at a very, some people say it's touchy, very sensitive conversation in our climate right now. But we'll talk about it regardless. We'll talk about the hard issues, the soft issues, whatever it is. We will talk about it. And this morning, we're looking at the genetically modified organisms, the myths and the realities in the economic aspect of the conversation, actually. The other ones, the scientists, I'm sure that other parts of the media will look into it and talk about it. But this morning, let's look at it. You know, what is the economic impact of GMOs to agribusiness, to smallholder farms and farmers? How will this actually impact them? Yes, there are other things, you know, we'll talk about the health risk and all that. There's that conversation. But away from that, economically, what's the impact? Food security, what's it? Now let's look at Nigeria, like many other African countries, faces a growing food security challenge. You know, ours it's a bit due to insecurity as well. Now, driven by climate change, population pressure, rising input costs, and fragile supply chains. This adding to our insecurity problem in Nigeria. In the race to feed over 200 million citizens annually, one option continues to stir debate: genetically modified organisms, or GMOs for short. Now, we're going to look at this conversation wholly. Now, what's the promise of GMOs? The proponents argue that GMOs offer powerful benefits: higher crop yields, resistance to pest and drought, reduced use of chemical pesticides, shorter growing cycles. Now, in countries like the US, Brazil, and South Africa, GM crops have helped farmers increase output and profitability, especially in maize, cotton, and soybean sectors. For economics dependent on agriculture, the promise is not just scientific, it's economic, which is our conversation. Let's get to the myths and fears. But the GMO debate is also clouded by economic myths and public fear. Some believe GMOs are a foreign technology designed to enslave local farmers through patent controls and costly seed pricing. Others worry that GMOs will undermine Nigeria's indigenous crops and increase dependence on multinational corporations. Health and environmental concerns also persist. Despite growing global consensus that approved GMO foods are safe, the economic reality, however, depends on strong institutions, farmer education, and market regulation. Now, there's people, the demand device, people are on different platforms trying to preach to us the GMO conversation. But joining me in the studio for us to have an idea from the economic perspective is an agribusiness and nano, small, medium, and micro expert, talking to us, enterprises expert, Dr. Ajisefinni Ayodeji. I got that correctly, right?
Tried.
I tried. Okay, could you pronounce that for us?
Ajisefinni Ayodeji.
Ajisefinni Ayodeji. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ajisefinni Ayodeji, this morning.
Thank
you are in the agribusiness sector, and you're equally the nano, micro, small and medium enterprises sector as well. Can you tell us, first of all, as an agribusinessman, your take on GMOs?
My take on GMO is a personal opinion that here in Nigeria, we are not ripe for it. Conventionally, we don't know anything called GMO until about 10 years ago, when they introduced one particular maize. There is a seed that was imported, and the ideology they gave to us then was you plant one per stand. And sincerely speaking, we did that. The yield was okay, but the implication there, the financial implication is much on the smallholder farmer. You can't buy a kilo. It's a bag of either 25 or 50 kg for almost 75,000, about 35 years ago. The taste of the output can be compared to our natural maize. And this type of product is not a thing for domestic consumption. It is for industrial use. Therefore, when we are talking about GMO, we need to consider the utilization and the targeted consumers. Is it for domestic use or for industrial use?
But when you say domestic, industrial in what sense? Because at the end of the day, it's still someone in their homes that will still eat the food.
Before now, we have been consuming so many GMO products in Nigeria. any food that is being imported or any seeds or products imported from abroad to Nigeria, 80% of them are GMO-related products. And you can't compare their own agribusiness practice with ours. The farming system here is not comparable to Nigeria. We are just growing, trying to meet up. But here in Nigeria, we need to consider a lot of factors when we are talking about the issue of GMO. It's not a thing we can drastically introduce into the market because the perspective of end user is that it is a chemicalized seed, which is not good for our health at the long run.
Okay, let's come back a bit. Now, some people say that some products, some fruits and crops that we have currently in the world were not originally there. They came through the case of genetically modified organisms. Like I saw a meme one time that lemon is not naturally occurring. Lemon comes from bitter orange and citron merged together, and that's how we have lemon. You understand? So, but lemon has seeds that we now keep planting to yield more product. Why is it that these, or that ideology, let's first of all break that myth away, that the GMO cannot be replanted? Is that...
That is it. The GMO is not a seed that when you harvest, you can replant the seed from it. It is not done that way.
Okay.
The system of GMO, if we compare with our local farming system, is you buy the seed. It's not a grandparent seed.
Okay.
It's not a seed that can remultiply. It's a seed that you plant, you consume, you throw away the seed. You can't plant that seed again. You go back and buy. And what are they trying to bring out of that? Here in Africa, or we say Nigeria, where we are, our farmers need to be reoriented because our own seed, if you consume, if you harvest, you can take part of whatever you harvested to replant, it will still germinate, but the productivity will reduce. Do you get the ideology? What's the yield you will get from the genuine seed from our own seed company in Nigeria is not going to give you, the second generation planted will not give you the result the first generation gave to you. And that is where we need to encourage and give more.
Just go back a bit. So first generation planted?
The seed, the original seed from our own seed company in Nigeria. Buy it, you plant it, it will give you the expected yield, if only if you practice good agricultural practices.
Okay.
And you adopt all the necessary things.
Okay.
Whatever yield that you get out of that particular seed, normally is not a good practice to replant the seed.
For GMO or for
our own local.
Okay.
But if you replant it, it will still give you results.
Okay.
It's only that the quality in what sense? The output of the yield may not be comparable to the first one you did. Okay. But for GMO, it is all in, all out. So
in a way, they are particularly the same thing, if we're being honest. Because if you're telling me that I cannot, if I replant the seed from the first planting, I won't get the same exact thing as the first time, then...
They're not. The so-called GMOs are modified. Look at the word, genetically modified.
Okay.
Inside it, scientifically, we are made to understand that there are some microorganisms that has been implanted into the seed that makes the seed to be resistant, to be good, that can weather any weather system, that can have that resistance to drought, to any insecticide or pesticide, which are the qualities, which are what they are making use to say to us that, if you use GMO, the number of pesticide and insecticide you will use will be reduced.
Okay.
But it has a long-run effect on the soil.
Okay. We'll come to all that farmer conversation. Let's look at it now. You, as a smallholder farmer, you said something earlier about the finances. So are you going further to say that it's not financially viable for smallholder farmers?
It's not financially viable for smallholder farmers. One, they lack mechanization.
Okay.
Two, they can't avoid to buy a seed as high as 30,000 per kilo.
Okay.
Three, the knowledge of its management is not well known to them.
Okay.
If these three things are out of it, it may be partially for them. But sincerely speaking, GMOs are not meant for smallholder farmers. It is for commercial farmers who has a targeted customer. For example, if a company comes to us and say, I want you to plant soya beans for us, we will ask, what type of seed do you want?
Okay.
If they bring their own GMO seed, we will plant it according to their taste, and everything from that particular farm is for them. Just like if you go to China, you want this phone, they will show you the original. You say this is what you want. They will produce according to your taste.
Okay.
All the spare parts, all the remittance, they will return it back to you out of their own. And it's for commercial purpose, not for domestic use.
Okay. So let's go to the profits, because everybody's getting into business to make money.
If we are to talk about the profitability, yes, it's profitable, but the end result is what we should look at. We should not always look at the profit business you will make from a business. What about the health implication, repeat of the second patronage of such products from your market? You can't bring a GMO maize and Nigerian maize, our locally produced maize together. I'm very sure demand for our own maize will always be greater than that of the GMO seed. Why?
Okay.
Taste.
Okay. I want us to go back a bit. I'm still having a bit of, when you said this parent seed planting again, because I want us to go back a bit. So I'm going to paint a scenario and you tell me if I'm correct.
Yeah.
You plant maize right now with a parent seed, right? Then when it's done in 6 months' time, that's the cycle.
No, 3 months. Depends on the breed of seed.
Okay, depends on the breed of seed.
Yes, we have 40 days maize, we have 60 days maize.
Are these naturally occurring seeds or GMO seeds?
No, current seed. We have our own seed company in Nigeria.
Okay.
That have their own farm.
Okay.
For multiplication of seed that can be used for open operation.
Okay.
This GMO, do you want the investors to die by bringing in GMO? You want them to die with their investment? The system it operates is, let me use this scenario.
Just 1 minute. But those 40-day seeds, are they not genetically modified
They are
as well?
not. These are locally, scientifically developed here in Nigeria.
Okay.
Just like okra. We have 30 days okra, we have 40 days okra. The 30 days okra are the short ones, while the long ones are the 40 days okra. Am I making any sense?
Yes, you are. But if I understand you, you just use the word scientifically made.
Yes.
So they...
Not that they are chemically induced for growth.
Okay.
Their own breed is for that particular usage.
Are they as healthy as the one that stays the regular time it ought to stay?
More than Eddie. More than Eddie. It's just to confirm the profitability in our business. For you bringing youth into agribusiness and you ask them to plant maize, it will be advisable for you to give them 60 days maize than 90 days maize.
Okay.
It will be okay for them and attractive for them to give them 30 days okra seed than to give them 40 days okra seed, because they will be calculating that in another 30 days time, I will harvest.
Okay. This whole conversation is now taking me to, if we have these kind of things, then why do we seemingly still have seasons for certain organisms and for certain crops, fruits? If we have things that can yield in 30 days, in 60 days, why do we say, oh, mango season is coming, tomato season is coming?
See, the truth of it is, we are practicing agriculture in the past years.
Okay.
Whereby naturally and psychologically we have seasoned our head towards a particular crop that this is the only time it can fruit. When God Almighty gave us that opportunity, I want to believe He did not say that this is the only time it will. Depends on our management on that particular seed, on that particular crop. If all the good agricultural practice is being done, there's nothing stopping us from harvesting things regularly. You talk about mango. It has become a regular thing that mango has a period of fruiting. Mango has a period of fruiting. Apple has a period of fruiting. Why do we plant maize? Why do we plant cowpea? Those categories are tree crops, not arable crops. But now we are talking about arable crops. You can plant arable throughout the whole year, irrespective of season. And that is the practice, and that's the advocacy we are giving to Nigerians in agribusiness. What we need to have is the infrastructure to practice it.
Okay. All right, so back to profitability.
Yeah.
How profitable is this?
Good. For smallholder farmer who is unable or who cannot avoid to manage 1 hectare of land, and a pack of GMO seed is being packaged to cover 1 hectare. 2, GMO seed have specific pesticide and insecticide that you need to use. GMO seed have their own specific fertilizer you need to use. Meaning, can't compare somebody that is living in Face Me and Face You to somebody that is living in Naija. Somebody living in Naija has high cost, high return. You now want to bring somebody that is living in Face Me and Face You to be spending the same amount somebody living in Naija, and all of them are coming to the same market. Meaning that the product from somebody living in Naija is for people in that category. GMO product is not for general consumers because they are expensive. Cost of their EOP, economic of production, is high. Their profit margin is high, and it's for targeted market. Now they want it to be for common market, which, to my own personal opinion, cannot fill the gap of food insecurity in Nigeria.
So what do you think, if GMO can't do that, if having a seed that is resistant to certain things that cause problems? We see the flood, we see what happened a few years back, actually close to maybe 10 years ago, and a man lost his entire farm of yam.
Due to what?
Due to flooding, and he went to, end his life. But if you're saying that this thing that can withstand these things is not viable, then what does the smallholder farmer, what is his hope?
You see, let's come back to the standard operational procedure for agribusiness. 1, knowledge. How regular do we change the mindset of our farmers from agriculture to agribusiness? That, look, you need knowledge about what you are doing. On every 1 hectare of farmland, you are expected to have, for a maize, for example, or for rice that we are complaining rice is expensive, you are expected to have minimum of 4 tons per hectare. And some countries in this part of the world are getting 10 tons per hectare. How are they doing their own to get 10 tons? Our planting system, mechanization, cost of farm input, all this needs to be considered. And we need to go back to cluster farming, whereby we have particular location for particular. That is why I'm talking about monocropping. It's not a situation whereby you will plant yam and maize, which is our common system of planting. Where you are supposed to get 5 tons, you are getting 1.5 tons. And you are spending the same amount you will spend on monocropping on this. How will that farmer make it? He has lost some of his yield due to lack of knowledge.
But I thought that multi-cropping was a good farming practice.
It's not the best farming practice for sustainable food security system. Let me give you a scenario. In a room, you have 6 occupants in a room. How do you want them to grow? And they are all consuming the same food at the same time. The strongest will take the highest.
So the strongest crop will take most of the nutrients.
And why the other one will die? But if you are allowed, that's why we call something crop rotation. This year, for example, I use this particular soil, this particular location to plant maize. Next year, I will plant sorghum. I will not plant maize again because the nutrients in that soil needs to be recycled for another product that can enjoy the nutrients. So
it basically, away from just planting, you only need to do soil science of some sort.
Soil science, crop rotational planting has to come into it. That's why knowledge, train the trainers, extension services needs to be effective in Nigeria, and that's why we are clamoring for private sector intervention to support government into this.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier about Nigeria. We have our own seed producing organizations.
Yes, we have a seed council in Nigeria. What are they doing?
Now, the question is this. Do you think that Nigeria should get into the GMO business as well and start genetically modifying their own seeds rather than having foreign companies give it to us?
Existing. I mean, presently we have hybrid, we have open pollinated seeds. That is, we have 2 types of seed in Nigeria presently. Depends on your economic power.
Okay.
High seed will give you higher yield. Something like what the GMO will give to you.
Okay.
Why the open pollinated, the yield may not be as high as the other one. Why don't we encourage our state council to go into research and come up with something that will suit our market? For now, we have some issues. Some of our crops are not exportable.
How?
Because of chemicalized nature of the production. Imagine Nigerian yam cannot go abroad. Ghana is now exporting yam than Nigeria.
Why can't the yam in Nigeria go abroad?
Because of usage of inorganic fertilizer and chemical. You are a woman, cut your yam, leave it for 24 hours. What do you think will happen to the remaining part?
Well,
those are the things. Because by the time it goes through quarantine process, they will identify that X quantity of inorganic elements is in that and it's not good for them there.
Oh,
why are they bringing something that is not good?
Because I was about to ask the question. If
something
they could
that
bring
is not
those
good for them there.
Here,
why are they bringing it to Africa?
Why can't it now go over there?
Why are they encouraging us that it will bridge the gap between food sufficiency? It will not, because it's not going to cover the whole country.
Oh. Okay. Now, still on GM, before we move to our next conversation, because apparently it seems it's a conversation and some people are tilting towards it and might even, want to do it, all these things you've said. But before I get to that, you said something about high yield crops. Now, I'd like for you to make a distinction between Nigerian hybrid seeds and then the GMOs. Now, just like you said, the GMOs need specific things. They need specific pesticide, insecticide, they need specific fertilizers. Is that the same case for the hybrid seed?
It's not the same case. It's just that...
So the hybrid seeds can use manure from cow and it will work
anything
well.
goable. It's climatized to our own nature.
Okay.
Not that we need to go and import the fertilizer, we import the chemicals. Because if you use a seed, a practical example, you bring in a dog from abroad. And you want it to acclimatize with our own local dog. Will that not take a long period to do so? Even doing artificial insemination is another way of this GMO. It's just that artificial insemination is known in livestock. But what is it in the GMO we are talking about? Is it not the introduction of our own seed, modifying it to suit high yield, boosting the growth, that it will not follow the normal growth stages? And for you to attain that, you need to apply some input, because they will not tell us that the GMO will not need fertilizer. Okay.
All right. Now, could GMOs disrupt our traditional farming and biodiversity?
It will have negative adversity on our local farming, because the food we are consuming in Nigeria today is being prepared, is being cultivated by local farmers in the village. How will this seed get to them? Something they know that they don't know the scientific practices about it. Do we have the extension officers enough in Nigeria to go around and be teaching all these local farmers? And that's why in our own cluster, we look at it that GMOs is for specific community, for specific purpose, not to secure our food security in Nigeria.
Now, Nigeria, we need regulation most of the time. Do you think that our regulation framework is strong enough to oversee GMO's safe use?
Well, I once told you that this is a sensitive topic. Some part of our agency are in support of it.
Okay.
Even the regulation body, because I witnessed an interview 2 days ago, and I see what somebody was talking about it, encouraging us to adapt it. And another school of thought says no. I think the best thing is for the government to look at bringing in GMOs should not be enforced on farmers. If you know you have what it takes for you to run GMO products, and the so-called GMO output, my dear sister, you can't see it in the open market. It's meant for the departmental stores. That is where you will see their output. That's to tell you that the fruit or the output from GMO seeds are not meant for the populace.
When you say that, but still the populace that goes to the stores to buy them.
Is it populace? It's not. Let's be sincere with ourselves. How many percentage of the populace do go to the departmental store?
Have you been to departmental stores recently? Have you seen the crowd that goes in there and comes out?
What percentage of that crowd goes to Utako market?
Okay.
Let's look at it from that perspective.
Okay. Looking at it from that, yes.
Yes. What percentage of that crowd goes to Wuse market?
But it doesn't matter. They're still Nigerian citizens.
I'm not saying against it. That's why I say that it's for specific category of income earners. It's for high-class people.
So we're taking away the benefit of eating properly, eating healthy
because of your status. Your status will determine where to get your pepper, where to get your meat, where to get your input for your domestic consumption.
But in other climes, when you see some of these things, you see that the organic products are more expensive than the GMO products.
They are in the same category. Now we want to organicalize our farming system in Nigeria by introducing manure, by using our own herbal system, by using some of the products that we know can work as insecticide or pesticide. That means that we are going organic, using our own input to come back to biofuel fertilizer, which is liquid, by using manures from our poultry or from cattle ranch, and by using some other leaves that are very good for insecticide. If these are well organized and well sponsored by the government, it will create more jobs. It will give more opportunities and bring down the price of our farm produce. A bag of fertilizer now is how much? A kilo of our own seed is how much? One thing leads to another. And that is the opportunity they are now looking at. That instead of you using 50 kg of 50 kg of rice seed, buy 25 kg of organic GMO rice, paddy rice to plant. It will still give you better than that. But can't we look at the taste of the output? Local rice and foreign rice, which one is better?
I'm not going to...
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Everybody has their preferences.
Preferences, yes. I was made to understand that somebody was telling me, Ayo, if you want to supply me turkey, supply me local turkey. I said, wow, because it has a taste. As you rightly said, your taste determines what you buy.
Okay. Now, I've asked this question, and I would like for you to answer it, specifically, really, because because it seems like you're anti-GMO from what you're saying so far. You rather they don't bring that into this country. Our worst case they don't impose it on smallholder farmers, if that's what you're saying.
Yes.
But I'm thinking that if Nigeria were to get involved in it, and maybe, as you said, now take out those seeds and now again do some working on it to acclimatize it to our own, won't that be a very great idea that now anybody can buy these seeds and anybody can plant these seeds?
Well, it will be a good thing for us, for our seed council, because that's the only body that is regulating the seed in Nigeria. If they can bring in the so-called GMOs and see the scientific element that is composed and use it to come up with our own GMO, which we refer to as hybrid, there's nothing bad in that. In as much as it will not have side effects on the health of consumer. As you are considering the profitability, consider the long-run health.
You've been
of
coming
the
to this health part of the conversation, so let's just do it briefly. Although I'm sure
too much of chemicalized food is not good for our health. Too much of it. and you know the rate at which we consume carbohydrate, protein, it has a residual long-run effect on our health. It may not be an immediate effect, but a long run. Therefore, I don't want to go beyond that.
Okay. Also, you mentioned something earlier about the effects of the GMO on the soil. Can you go into that more?
Because of the composition of GMOs, that particular soil you use for a particular product, you can't repeat that same product on it again because it has to be refertilized. GMOs make use of fertilizers. Why a non-GMO, our own natural soil, if you use organic means or a natural fertile land, you can continue your plantation in the next season. But if it is not, if you now use a GMO seed and you want to reuse that soil without application of fertilizer, the output will not be encouraging. And you know, the seed will dissolve into the soil. And the residue of whatever modification will be in the soil. And which will invariably go down, turn to liquid, and wherever the water content is, we will drink it somewhere.
Oh, so away from just the crops that we're eating, it now leaches into the water.
The underground
table.
is what? The underground is full of water. And the moisture content is what gives a plant to grow. That's why you see that during the dry season, if the area you are using does not have enough water sources, it's a problem. And you know, in some areas, they will ask you not to sink borehole because of the nearest to sea.
Okay. All right. It's quite, there's so much in this GMO conversation, and, time won't allow us. We had a second topic, but we've been on this GMO. We can't even touch that second topic because we'll still have to leave the studios very, very soon. Now, we see that the government said something about agriculture for youths. And you've mentioned this thing about the youths and the seed council making it very possible for youths to go into farming. Now, let's talk about it. As a youth, now generally, I want to go into farming.
I'm a youth, too.
Okay, yes. The Nigerian youth term is 18 to 50, I think. So as a youth that you are, and for other youths out there. So if we want to go into farming, what are the step-by-step processes?
First and foremost is to make the farming agribusiness be sexy to them.
Oh, that word.
Yes.
Okay.
How do you make it sexy to them? One, capacity building. And before you can make any capacity building, number one fundamental thing needs to be carried out is mindset reorientation. That look, if you want to run a short-term business in agribusiness, this is what you can do. If you want to run a medium, let's give them options of opportunities in agribusiness. Irrespective of your course of study, you are relevant in agribusiness. Irrespective. After that, you now give them practical training, a case study based training, not theoretical training, a case study based. After that, you take them to a clustered community. Make provision for working capital, because access to funds is a major problem for our youths that are more interested in agribusiness. No financial institution is ready to support starters. And we that we call ourselves youth and you are determined to be an agribusiness practitioner, you need to start with, after your training, make yourself be relevant through registration of your business. Because you are not a businessman if you don't have a business name. After getting that in place, try and have your bank account in place. Form your cluster. Work as a cluster. Think big. You start small. You don't need to jump to a long gestation crop. Start from vegetable. If you are interested in vegetable, if you are interested in poultry, start with rearing for 4 weeks, 5 weeks. If you want to go into fish farming, start from hatching. Hatching is very sensitive. Yes, you can buy the fingerlings and rear to juvenile, make your turnover within 4 weeks. That is things that can make it more sexy to them, and we
More
give
appealing
them
to
more
them.
appealing to them, because I'm borrowing the the word of our president. More appealing to them. And if they can see that what I'm doing is giving me joy, you can't force any youth to go into agribusiness. You can only make it appeal to him through giving him practical experience. Bring people that are doing it, that have faith in that business, but because they are consistent, they have perseverance, they can endure, and they believe in themselves, plus being focused and determined. Bring them to come and give them mentorship. That may change their mind and become people that will lead our agribusiness and give us sustainable food security in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you so much for that step-by-step process for youths out there, for young people out there who will want to go into agribusiness, into farming for commercial purposes. That's some step-by-step process on how to do that. Now, final words just before we go. Do you think that GMO is an answer to our food security problem in Nigeria?
My direct answer is no. GMO is not the final answer to Nigerian food insecurity.
All right, that's been our guest on the program, Dr. Ajisefinni Ayodeji, who has been talking to us on GMOs, the economic myths and realities. He is an agribusiness and NMSE expert. And, you know, on the program, we try to bring you information on what's happening in all spheres and all issues, you know, as it relates to the economic part of our lives. That's the much we have for you this morning on the program. It's been quite insightful having you. Actually, learned quite a few things too from you being here. And that's it for Business Daily this morning. I've been your host. For more of our programs, documentaries and news, do want to follow us on our social media platforms and our YouTube live stream. My name is Chiamaka Nwafor. Same time, same place tomorrow. Bye for now.